Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's me with absolutely nothing to talk about. Yep, as Celtic have a free midweek, not really much to go through apart from some rumours. And you know how reliable rumours are in Scottish football. So bear with me as I try and fill the void of no Celtic news as we talk about some things that could or might not be happening. Yeah. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. Apologies if I sound a wee bit off today. I'm loaded with a cold. I was about to say loaded and just leave it there. I ain't loaded. That's why I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel for a video today. But if I sound a wee bit off, a wee bit nasally or whatever, that's the reason why. So apologies. But we're on the road to 50,000 subscribers this year. I hope, if you haven't already, drop down below and hit those buttons. It's a quiet day. So we're going to try and talk about some of those things that have been floating around on the internet, see if there's any truth in it, give my opinions towards it, all that good jazz. That's why you're here. Of course, as I touched on in the intro, Celtic are free midweek. There isn't a game for us. Rangers will play against Ross County tomorrow night. This is the league table, of course. If they win that game by a substantial amount of goals, they can go top of the table, which isn't ideal for Celtic. We've allowed ourselves to be put in this position where a title race is well and truly on the cards, but we can only control our own destiny. We need to, take our attention away from Rangers playing Ross County tomorrow night and turn our attention to our game against Kilmarnock this weekend. It's the next league fixture for Celtic. We return to Celtic Park in what feels like the first time in ages. It's a big game, and we haven't been perfect this season at Celtic Park, so there's never a guarantee that you're getting 3 points and heading up the road with it. Our attention needs to remain on that and every game that follows, one game at a time, try and take maximum points and keep this title at Celtic Park. It's as simple as that. So we'll obviously talk more about that game as we get towards Saturday, but talking about Rangers, shall we go over the rumours that have been circulating online this morning? So earlier on today, this went up on Twitter. It was from a Rangers fan, and obviously you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. But in the tweet, they said they're hearing that Celtic are getting 2,750 tickets for the next derby match in April. Of course, that derby match on April 6th, when we play at Ibrox in the third league encounter of the season against Rangers, where it was reportedly a situation where we would just see no Celtic fans, as we did in the last game at Ibrox, as we've seen no Rangers fans at Celtic Park in December. It's the norm now that we don't see away fans at what is meant to be the biggest derby in the world. This has been an ongoing situation for years now. We all are familiar with the situation. But there are a lot of rumours floating around online that potentially at the next derby, Rangers are allowing Celtic fans into the stadium. This would be a massive step in the right direction to hopefully returning to the glory days of the derby, if you like, the way the derby should be, having away fans and atmosphere back in the grounds, because let's be real, the last few derbies without away fans at them, both at Ibrox and Celtic Park, just haven't been the same. It's great when you're winning. I mean, I remember when Celtic were 2-0 up in December, the stadium was rocking, we were bouncing, we were loving life, but it's just not the same without that group of Rangers fans in the corner to laugh at, or, vice versa. It's just not the same. I've always hated that. I don't care what anybody says. I think if you're on the side of the fence that the away fans should be locked out, it's a pathetic side of the fence to be on. And that's me just being brutally honest. I don't see why you would want the magnitude of the derby to suffer and the atmosphere of the derby to suffer just because of a little bit of pettiness. But this isn't, take everything with a pinch of salt. This is rumours that have been floating about online, as I've said. I have tried to ask about. I've went to my very... I wouldn't say reputable sources, but I've went to sources to ask if there's anything in this that could mean that there's something happening, and it seems like it is picking up a little bit of gas. I'm not sitting here saying I've been told it is definitely happening, because I don't want this to be the case, and then we get closer to the derby and it's no fans will be there. But it seems like this is coming from somewhere. There's a reason that this has started brewing, especially when we still have just less than 2 months to that game to go. There's still a bit of time. So I don't know if there has been discussions going on behind the scenes between both clubs, But we're looking at this potential allocation, not the big allocation, not the regular allocation that we had, the 8,000 fans or whatever, but this bigger allocation, better than 800, better than 0. There is potential this could be happening. Which is a surprise, because this was the last that we've seen of the situation and the discussions between both clubs. This was back in December when Celtic said they would stand firm over their stance regarding not allocating Rangers fans any tickets for the upcoming derby. That was wrote in December. Credit to the Celtic Way for that specific article. That was the 5th of December 2023, right before we played them at the end of the month. But you've got to remember, the only reason that Celtic stood firm on that stance, and the only reason that was the case, and I remember Rangers fans kicking off about it, or we're not getting 800 tickets or whatever, that's because Celtic never got 800 tickets in the September fixture. So what would have been the point, and where would the fairness have been if Celtic went, yeah, you can have tickets, even though we didn't get any for the Ibrox fixture beforehand, and even though it was Rangers that started this whole situation in the first place. The team that had to stand up and grow up here, and the team that had to, and the club that had to right the wrongs, was ultimately Rangers. They made the decision in the first place to eliminate away fans from the fixture. Years ago, they were the ones that started it. Celtic, quite simply, have been stubborn in retaliation. I think both clubs have had a bit of pathetic dealing in both of it. I don't think that Celtic can sit there and claim innocence and trying to handle it. I think that both clubs have handled it pretty poorly, but you can't escape the fact that Rangers were the ones that started the situation. However, this is a step in the right direction, and if there is truth in the matter, thank God, because it's been far too long, and even though it's only 2,750 tickets we're talking about here, it's a massive upgrade in what we've had since 2017. Now, you might be asking, why is it 2,750 tickets and not the 8,000, and why that very specific number? It's because I think that I believe that is the European allocation that Rangers would give teams visiting in either the Europa League or the Champions League. They know it is an amount of fans that they can control, and there can be safety concerns addressed, and it's something that they know to handle when it comes to the potential disasters you could have on a game of such magnitude. Now, my question is, where would the fans be housed at Ibrox? Because I just feel like Celtic fans being isolated in that corner that European away fans would be doesn't work in the same manner as it would in a European game, because there's undoubtedly going to be more bother, there's going to be more trouble. The only solution I can think of is, and there is talk of the Union Bears at Rangers being moved section, but you would have to, and that's not till next season, I believe, so you'd have to temporarily move them for this game, because I think the only way you can make it possible is if you put the Celtic fans right over the side of that stand, right where the Union Bears would be. That's the only way I think it would work in that corner of the Broomloan, because there is the whole situation with upper and lower tiers. There's a situation of being isolated in that corner with Rangers fans at either side. It could be a disaster waiting to happen, and that's why I've not got my hopes up on this happening quite yet, and that's why I would say take it with a pinch of salt. I still think there's a lot to be addressed. The only way for me it works is if they are housed in that corner. I'll have graphics on screen. So that'll be interesting to see. And then the question to answer back on that is, what would the situation be in regards to Rangers fans coming to Celtic Park, and how many tickets would they get? If it is coming down to European away allocate, I'll put that in, European away allocations, the rule for UEFA has always been 5%, hence why we're getting the number 2,750. If Celtic were to come back and agree to that and say to Rangers, okay, we'll do that, you can have 5% of Celtic Park, it means that Rangers would get just over 3,000 tickets for Celtic Park, which would obviously be housed in that corner that we put away fans when they visit Atletico Madrid, Leipzig, whatever team comes over, you know where they sit. That's where the Rangers fans would be sat at Celtic Park. Once again, still I think safety issues and concerns with that, because you would have to worry about upper tier, lower tier, etc., missiles being launched. There's a lot of safety concerns that come into consideration when it comes to these games, but that is realistically what they'd get. 3,000 tickets over in that away corner, should it be safe enough or regarded safe enough. There will be people out there who hit out with the, how come we get 2,700 and you get 3,000? I honestly wouldn't complain. I don't care. I just want the derby to go back to the way it was, and I think ultimately that is what we should all be aiming for as fans of the game and fans of the derby, and just for the GEAR competition in Scottish football. It's when it's at its best, and it's been pathetic for far too long. So we'll wait and see what happens over the next few weeks leading up to that derby game. I'd imagine that we'll hear about ticket sales probably in a month's time. So I think around then we'll probably hear if Rangers are getting are we getting tickets at Ibrox or not, and then we move from there. But I do want us to get in moving in a direction that it should be back to the way it was. There should be 8,000 Celtic fans at Ibrox. There should be however many get tickets at Celtic Park. It's the way it should be. We're talking about the most famous fixture in world football, and we've been treating it like an afterthought for so long now because of the pathetic dealings that fans really don't have a say in. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's all rumours. Take it with a pinch of salt. And I think that is about it for today because, you know, the game at the weekend is well and truly over. There's not much to touch on there. That's really the only news that has been bubbling about on the internet. It's back to this time of the season now when we don't have midweek games from week to week. You kind of don't have much in between unless there's injury news, fitness updates, or something shocking happens. Yeah. So that's where I need your support the most, guys. Please make sure to share the video out and stuff like that. You know, that would be helpful. Anyway, thanks for watching today. I hope you have a lovely night, and hopefully we'll be back on the channel tomorrow. So we'll wait and see what happens. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.